Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Welcome, everybody. Why don't we kick off with the fallout from Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden rally, where comedian Tony Hinchcliffe had this to say during his warm-up act.
It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
The public outrage to his racist jokes prompted a superstar trio nicknamed the Puerto Rican Avengers. We're talking about Bad Bunny, Ricky Martin, and J-Lo to endorse Kamala Harris as There you go. Do you think that Tony's jokes are going to backfire for the Trump campaign?
You know what? I want to start on another note. It's the hypocrisy for me where the Republican Party is distancing themselves, saying these are not our values. And I want to remind the Republican Party of a date, June 16th, 2015. That is a day that Donald Trump came down the escalator and announced that he was running for president for the first time. And during that speech, he referred to Mexican Americans who had immigrated to that country as rapists and murderers. And I will never ever forget that moment, because I thought, first of all, I'd never seen someone getting into politics who was going to spew racist rhetoric during a press conference in front of cameras about a specific group, and I thought, his political career is over. Little did I know, almost 10 years later, and the number of things that this man has done, never mind January 6th, the insurrection where a police officer died, but all of the insults to every single group, women, people of color, immigrants, and the Republican Party has been what? Very quiet. No, don't get me wrong, there have been a few who have come out and said stuff like Ted Cruz and Nikki Haley and J.D. Vance, and what do? They turn around and then they go back and they support him. Yeah. So I think it is crazy. For the last almost 10 years, we've heard this man say all kinds of crazy things. But one comedian, who they invited, by the way, to speak at this, says some off-color jokes. I'm not defending this comedian.
No, but
now,
nothing should surprise us.
But now the Republicans are like, that's not our values. We want to distance ourselves. And it's like, where have you been for the last 9 years to distance yourself from the things this man has said? So I'm hot on that. I'm like, get out of here. Get out of here.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, I agree. There's a number of columnists sort of saying, like, this is it. This is, like, the end of it. This is the last straw. That's the last straw.
Thank you.
And what we saw was just a snippet of a fascinating night where someone compared Kamala Harris to the Antichrist and the devil, where Hulk Hogan flexed and danced, where Dr. Phil gave a talk. Like, it was a circus. It has been a circus for the last 10 years. So the idea that this is the moment, like, oh, too far. It's like asking for pasta every night for dinner, and then 3 years in being like, you served me pasta?
Yeah.
You know, like, come on.
No surprises. Yeah. I think for me, I'm taking a whole different spin on this, and I actually was talking to my husband about it last night, because anybody who watched it who's got a brain, whether you're left-leaning or right-leaning, it was disgusting. And so we were shocked that this was happening. And then my husband said, oh, I know that comedian. I watch him. He does a lot of anti-Trump comedy.
Get out.
So then I went, what do you mean he does anti-Trump comedy? And one of his most viewed videos on his YouTube channel called Kill Tony was this whole spoof where he had two of his friends who are comedians play Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and he roasted both of them mercilessly. So I don't know that this is a pro-Trump guy. What I think is he absolutely just did the biggest, most disgusting, but perhaps effective comedy bit we have ever seen, offending a bunch of people in the process. You know, the Ali G, Sacha Baron Cohen kind of style. I think that they didn't vet this guy to come and be on the show, on the stage, because Donald Trump is so desperate for any celebrity to show up and endorse him, that this guy who's been on Joe Rogan's podcast a lot was probably like, oh, he's a comedian, he's pro-Trump, come on in. And I think what we just saw was him infiltrate and purposely blow up the Trump campaign, and mission accomplished, because now if you have a swing state like Florida, which is where the largest percentage of Puerto Ricans are living, if you have a swing state like Pennsylvania, guess what? They're all like, this is too far, and we're voting for Kamala.
I don't know. I mean, I hope you're right. But
I don't know.
I suspect that people who are in that room are diehard Trump supporters no matter what. And I think that the people who are watching that convention are still not undecided. So I don't think it matters. I think if anything, this guy maybe has just got himself a bunch of haters. But he was also very confusing. Even if he was kind of trolling or whatever, he never outright said that he himself was voting for Trump. But he did say things like, when I lay my head down at night, I know who I'm voting for. He then crapped all over Kamala Harris and what San Francisco has become since she lived in it. He also said that he did say this at the end. Just watch this.
I'm just here to say that you guys are for the right candidate. Tell your friends. Let's close it out. And let's make speech free again. Make America healthy again. God bless America. Let's make it great again.
So I think he is a big supporter of Trump. Like, even though if you're suggesting that maybe he's not, I think he is.
There's something thrilling about not knowing from watching that.
I know.
Like, is he trolling all of us?
I think he might be an anarchist. That's my conclusion.
Is that he threw a grenade in and just watched
He just was like pointing out both sides of like just the whole ridiculous. Anyway, I'm so sick of this conversation. That's all I know. I'm just
it's Cynthia's favorite. Cynthia loves this. It's her favorite thing to talk about. Well, you know, they have a couple days to get it straight, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's move on. Former NBA star Dwyane Wade now has his own statue outside the Miami Heat Arena. Sorry, I'm laughing already. The sculpture is meant to show Wade in a moment of celebration, but it got torn apart on social media during the unveiling, with people saying it looks more like Kelsey Grammer. I'm sorry.
Oh my
You know what? First of all, let's put some respect on Kelsey Grammer's name. He does not look like that. So, what do you think of the statue and his reaction?
I mean, speaking of trolling, this is a very, very attractive man.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. It's like, I wonder to myself, like, did the artist get hired and then they ran out of time and they were just like, I guess we gotta live this? This also is a picture of a man, I don't know if it's supposed to express joy, because it doesn't. It expresses more horror and pain, if anything. The rhetoric online on social media was, again, beautiful, because people said, one, if you took off the jersey and gave me 100 guesses, there's no way I would say that is Dwyane Wade. Someone else said, why did they make Dwyane Wade look like the villain from The Mask?
It's like the Mask character, but trapped in carbonite, like Han Solo.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
it's
terrifying.
I think we need to give Dwayne, though, an applause, because you could see it on his face that he was not happy. He kept on making eyes with his son and his family members, like, they really did me like this. And all these cameras are here, and I just got a smile, and he got catfished at his own statue unveiling. And it reminded me of online dating, where you have this person who's like, sounds really great, and then when you meet them in this unveiling, you say the same thing that Dwayne said, which is like, who is this man?
Who is this? But do you know what I read? That he was, Dwayne was a part of the design process from the very beginning.
Couldn't be.
Like, that is not something you just put finishing touches on the last minute. It's
Can I ask all of you, like, if any of us are gonna get any statues, which will never happen, but let's say someone decided to, I think we all have to get the right to vet it before the public unveiling. That's a no-win situation. We know what happened to Cristiano Ronaldo. He had this airport renamed after him. We know what happened. The middle happened, and then another sculptor came and did another one, which was much, much better.
That middle one's
you know,
great.
we know that, what's his name, David Beckham. I thought that this was real. It was actually a spoof. James Corden spoofed him. But also James Dean, who was arguably, you know, one of the most handsome guys in history. And he had one that was terribly done. Well, okay, I guess he doesn't care because he's not here. But if we ever do, just make sure that we vet each other's, please. Can we have each other's?
How about we act like real people and go, that's not me, I'm not doing I'm not doing that. Put the sheet over it again, I'm not. No, you're not doing me like that. I'll call them out right there.
Okay, Nick Cannon got real about the insecurities he faced during his relationship with his ex, Mariah Carey. While on the Ray Daniels Presents podcast, he said he struggled with his masculinity, saying he was carrying a purse, often in a diaper bag, and that she was, quote, rocking being the alpha. So what do we mean when we say alpha, and does every relationship maybe need one?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, well, first of all, like, I think we need to decide, here's what I think of as alpha, and generally we attach it to males. And like the modern day alpha for me is someone who is fine carrying the diaper bag, who is so assured with who they are that they would be, their heart would flutter seeing their wife soar in her career, seeing their wife make more money, because they know who they are. They're not afraid to sort of have their masculinity sort of questioned at all. But I don't think that that's what we're talking about. I think when we're talking about an alpha, are we talking about someone who takes charge?
That's the definition,
And
I think.
takes charge, they love control. I'm looking at Mel.
And she sits there in her power suit. Who me?
And don't you feel like you need someone who does take control in the relationship?
Or nothing will
because
ever get
someone's
done.
got to pay the bills.
Well, I will say
but
with
the
Nick,
other stuff with alpha stuff, like the bad boy stuff, or the I don't
breadwinner
know.
stuff.
Breadwinner
If
stuff.
I say that, because to me, I think he is subscribed to the older definition, the more traditional
Like this,
definition
kinda?
of what alpha is, being the male, being the breadwinner, being the star. And then I had to talk about birth order, right? Because I said, what's the birth order here? And go figure, and not go figure, not a surprise. He is the eldest of 5 boys. He's really used to being alpha and firstborn in his family. He's the eldest, he keeps the other brothers in line. So now he gets together with this superstar named Mariah Carey. She's uber talented, and he comes in and he's holding a purse. He's like, what have I done wrong in my life? Like, you can see a guy like that maybe not embrace your definition, which is a very progressive definition of alpha, because in his eyes, alpha means I am the breadwinner, I take care of everything. And so
But he married Mariah Carey.
You know what?
Yeah, but
exactly.
she
It doesn't matter.
I don't give him a pass for that.
Thank
if
you.
you marry Mariah Carey, I think you know what you're signing up
I think
for.
I'm going to call him out because I'm not a fan of his antics, and I think that he is, the word I want to use, I can't because we're on television, he's a star lover. Because prior to meeting Mariah, he dated a lot of models and actresses. And one thing that all of those actresses, Christina Milian, Kim K was one of those people, he was either on the same level of fame or more famous than those women. Either he was on the same financial level or he was richer. And I think that he liked having Mariah because, first of all, he tattooed her name on his back. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Like an idiot. Because he wanted the world to know, that's my woman.
Yeah.
I'm the man here. And then the reality of it hit him, which is like, oh, I got to take a back seat. I wanted the biggest fish, but now that I have her, it comes with all of this other stuff, which is people not knowing who I am and not carrying on the red carpet and asking me to just move out of the shot. And that's what he had a problem with. And I'm going to say this much. His comments on that show actually validate what a lot of single women feel. That men always say, I want a strong, independent woman who has her own money. And we deep down know, most of you, not all of you, are not being honest. You really don't want that. You would prefer a woman that you can dominate physically, financially, and intellectually. And that is the reality. And look at it. If you don't believe me, why can't Martha Stewart find a husband all these years? How come Mariah Carey's still struggling?
Wow.
How come Whitney Houston had such a hard time finding a decent partner? Janet Jackson, I could go down the list.
I think
these men don't really want those powerful women. It just looks really nice.
I don't know. I think that there are myriad reasons why those people might not have partners. We don't know what they're like on a day-to-day basis. And I think most of us actually go between our alpha sides and our non-alpha
but he's
sides.
had 4 wives.
Donald Trump is, sorry, what?
What I'm saying is it's not about who they are. Donald Trump keeps getting married and staying married. So how come he can find a partner, but Martha Stewart can't get a date?
Because he's rich. He's got rich and power. Like, I think that people
So
still
does
think that
Martha.
he's got something. I don't know.
Men don't like it.
I think most of us exist in these places with nuance. Most of our relationships, there are sometimes where we're the decision maker. You might be the alpha of the home. Let's say you're making most of the decisions for the parent, like as a parenting role. You might have, I think like you're right now technically an alpha in your relationship if we use the lens of just being the primary breadwinner.
Right.
And yet I think that I would argue Simon has moments where he is the alpha as well. No? Or are you just the alpha?
I'm just teasing. He definitely has moments, but there are more moments like alpha, in my mind, is just someone who is so confident in who they are that they can walk away from a confrontation or they can talk their way through a confrontation, which is Simon.
I
think he is the alpha, but in my twisted version of what an alpha is.
In an artist,
or even just like in a good human being kind of way.
Can you be an alpha
Do you
in
know what I
different
mean?
things?
you're an alpha too in your relationship.
I 1,000% am the alpha in my relationship. 1,000%. However, I say that because my husband is the alpha in the stuff that he's the alpha in.
So you're each alphas.
So we can be alphas in different things. I think any relationship, to your point of nuance,
I'm
is
sometimes an alpha and I'm sometimes
a
not
beta.
an alpha. Exactly.
Sometimes a beta.
Sometimes I'm a, what's the last letter in the alphabet?
Sigma?
Omega. I'm the
A
omega.
zeta.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Zeta,
Omega.
isn't it?
Zeta.
Anyway,
I
I'm trying to do the
letter in
Greek
the alphabet
alphabet.
is
It's not
zeta.
working. But I think my
it's
point
the
is we
beginning and the
shouldn't
end
have-
is Omega. I think.
Yeah, we're doing Greek alphabet. We're doing Greek alphabet. She just got back from Greece.
Oh,
She
it might
thinks
be
she
ancient Greek. It's ancient Greek.
But no, my point is, I think we can move between our individual strengths and weaknesses in a relationship to make the whole household
That's the
sing.
balance. That's the balance that everyone be searching for. And when you're confident in who yourself and what you have to offer, I think to circle back to what you're saying, you know that. And a good man and a good woman can know that you need to sometimes be dominating. That comes from wolf culture, guys. Wolves.
It's an entirely different genus.
That's
Or
right.
maybe Nick was having a moment where he's like, I thought I was an alpha, I thought I'd be comfortable, but in reality, when I actually was married to that woman, it was more of a struggle, and I actually don't want to be that that guy who's holding
Don't
the
blame
Greek
it on the Greek alphabet.
and he's just being honest about it. And this is
blame it
why
on the
he's
Greek
spreading his seed
alphabet.
across the United States.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.